Have you ever noticed how some women can walk into a room and, without saying a word, draw every eye toward them? It's not their looks, their wealth, or even their age that does it. It's their energy specifically, the magnetic pull of dark feminine energy. When you learn to embody it through confidence, self-respect, emotional intelligence, and a deep understanding of human psychology, you don't just attract love, you become the embodiment of desire itself. So let me ask you this. Are you ready to stop chasing attention and instead become the woman who makes love, power, and respect chase you? Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal are 8 psychologically backed secrets that will completely transform how men perceive you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Before we dive in, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think men are drawn more to a woman's beauty or her energy? I'll be reading every answer. And here's a little twist. Would you like me to weave in a short, suspenseful story or a striking metaphor at the start of each of the 8 points to keep your viewers hooked until the very end? Picture this. You're sitting across from someone you long to connect with. You lean in, your voice softens, and bit by bit, you share your stories, your scars, your dreams, your hidden corners. You're opening yourself like a book you desperately want him to read. But then you notice it, that flicker in his eyes. He's listening, yes, but the spark is fading. His attention drifts, his curiosity wanes, and suddenly you wonder, why does this happen? Why does unveiling your soul sometimes push someone further away instead of pulling them closer? It feels cruel, doesn't it? Intimacy should deepen through honesty, yet somehow it slips away. When we give too much, too soon. Here's the truth most people never realize. What fascinates the human mind isn't abundance. It's mystery. Desire thrives not on what's freely given, but on what's discovered. Mystery is the oxygen of attraction. Without it, interest suffocates. The woman who understands this doesn't rush to bear every secret, every wound, or every page of her past. She dances between light and shadow, revealing just enough to intrigue, but never everything at once. Because the human psyche, especially the masculine one, is wired for pursuit. Men chase what they can't fully possess. And when you embody that awareness, you stop overgiving and start allowing curiosity to bloom. Think of it like the pacing of a thriller novel. The author doesn't reveal the ending in chapter 1. They build suspense page by page. The same applies to relationships. When you expose everything too quickly, you steal away the tension, the beautiful uncertainty that fuels emotional connection. He no longer wonders who you are because the mystery has already dissolved. And with that loss of wonder comes a quiet withdrawal, not from comfort, but from boredom. Now, contrast that with a high-value woman who understands the art of pacing emotional intimacy. She's not cold nor manipulative. She's simply aware of her worth, and she lets her story unfold like a rare, luminous gem, layer by layer. This isn't about withholding love. It's about protecting your energy. It's about creating emotional safety for both people by allowing closeness to develop naturally. Many women, especially those who've endured trauma or emotional neglect, fall into the trap of oversharing too soon, mistaking exposure for connection. But vulnerability, when rushed, often overwhelms instead of inviting closeness. True magnetism lies in balance, in knowing when to reveal and when to let silence speak for you. Because in that dance of mystery and depth, desire is born. And just like that, the entire dynamic collapses. This is how narcissistic entanglements are born when one person devours. The overexposure of another's soul, feeding on their openness while offering nothing of depth in return. So, understand this. Mystery is not cruelty, it is protection. It is your energetic boundary, shielding you from pouring your sacred truths into vessels unfit to hold them. And paradoxically, that very restraint multiplies your allure, makes him wonder, who is she really? What's hidden behind her eyes? What secrets live beneath her calm? That wondering pulls him closer. That wondering becomes fascination. Because the unknown is a magnet, it demands attention and lingers in the mind long after the moment has passed. But mystery is more than a strategy. It's a reflection of inner wholeness. To embody it, you must first find comfort in your own quiet, in your own gravity. You must know that your presence alone is enough, even in silence, even in stillness. A high-value woman does not rush to fill empty spaces with noise. She lets the pauses breathe, knowing that he's leaning forward, drawn by the pulse of her composure, compelled to fill the silence with his own effort to reach her. So here's the real question. Are you willing to let a man earn the right to your story? To trust that your magnetism lies not in what you reveal immediately, but in what you withhold until it's truly deserved? Because if you've ever felt drained from overgiving or shattered after bearing your soul too soon, perhaps the problem wasn't your capacity to love, but your misunderstanding of feminine energy's hidden rhythm. Once you awaken to this truth, something profound happens. You stop grasping. You stop performing. You stop pleading for emotional reciprocity. Instead, you radiate connection effortlessly by simply being whole, centered, and ever so slightly out of reach. That delicate distance becomes intoxicating. It plants the seed of obsession more powerfully than any confession ever could. But what happens when silence itself turns sharp, when mystery shifts from magnetism to distance and warmth gives way to cold withdrawal? That's where the next secret begins to unfold. Have you ever noticed how silence between two people can feel almost unbearable? They sit across from each other, and the moment stillness arrives, someone rushes to break it, words spilling out nervously, over-explaining, oversharing, confessing too much, too soon. Why? Because silence forces us to confront ourselves. It mirrors our fear that without constant effort, the other person might drift away. Yet here lies the paradox. When used consciously, silence becomes one of the most seductive forces in human connection. It is the heartbeat of dark feminine energy, the pause that commands attention. Think of it like music. Without silence, the melody collapses into noise, but with it, every note resonates with meaning. In relationships, silence has the same effect. The high-value woman understands this instinctively. She doesn't chatter to fill the air or rush to prove her worth. She allows the stillness to linger, not as emptiness, but as presence. And that presence becomes a mirror, forcing the other person to feel the weight of their own unease, to confront the pull of her stillness. There's a subtle but powerful psychological effect at play. When a woman doesn't rush to fill the gap, she communicates without a single word that she does not fear loss. She's not seeking validation, not scrambling for reassurance. Her calm declares, I am enough. I am whole with or without you. And that quiet confidence is disarming. For a man used to control or accustomed to emotional chasing, her silence feels like gravity, both grounding and unshakably magnetic. It draws him in, not through noise, but through power. Silence holds a power most people never recognize. It's not emptiness. It's a container for truth. When you stop over-explaining or trying to fill every quiet moment, something incredible happens. People reveal themselves. Give a man enough silence, and he'll start to uncover his own insecurities, desires, and unspoken fears. Silence isn't passive. It's alive. It draws out authenticity without force. What emerges from that quiet isn't manufactured by your questions. It rises naturally, like truth finding its own way to the surface. Think about how deep healing happens in therapy. A skilled therapist doesn't talk over the client or rush to give advice. They pause. They wait. They create stillness. And in that stillness, the truth finally slips out, the words the client's been running from all along. Silence acts as a key that unlocks what's been trapped inside the unconscious. Relationships work the same way. When you stop filling every pause, you make room for something real to appear. Often, the quiet will tell you more than any conversation ever could. But silence can feel dangerous too, especially if you've been shaped by rejection or abandonment. If your attachment style leans anxious, silence feels like a void. Your mind races. What if he's losing interest? What if he's pulling away? What if he thinks I'm boring? So you talk to hold him there to feel safe, but that constant need to keep him engaged flips the polarity. You step into pursuit instead of power. You lose the magnetic energy that makes you irresistible. The high-value woman learns to resist that pull. She understands that her stillness is her strength, that her calmness speaks louder than any effort to prove her worth. Silence is also a boundary-wearing elegance. It quietly declares, "You don't get all of me at once. You'll have to earn my openness." And this becomes especially crucial when freeing yourself from narcissistic dynamics, because where a narcissist feeds on chaos, drama, and emotional overreaction, silence starves them. It denies them their fuel. It is both protection and power, a calm shield that exposes their instability. And in true love, silence isn't a wall, it's depth. It shows you are secure enough to rest, to not chase, reassurance, to trust that connection grows through space as much as it does through closeness. But even silence must be balanced. Push it too far, and it becomes coldness instead of magnetism. Use it to punish, and it turns into manipulation instead of mastery. The secret lies in harmony, knowing when to hold back and when to let warmth flow. It's not about withholding affection. It's about letting intimacy breathe. So, the next time you feel that rising panic in the quiet, the urge to fill it with words, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I speaking to connect or to calm my own fear? That single question can change the entire dynamic. It reveals whether your energy comes from self-trust or self-doubt. Because silence at its core is a mirror. It reflects everything: your peace, your anxiety, your boundaries, and his intentions. The real challenge begins when that reflection unsettles. Will you rush to cover it with noise? Or will you sit in the truth long enough to understand what it's trying to show you? Now imagine this. Tension rises in your chest. You're whispering, but not all of it. The unknown pulls your attention more than the visible. In relationships, psychological attraction works the same way. When everything is exposed too soon, desire falters. But when layers remain hidden beneath composure, when there is more beneath the surface than can be grasped instantly, longing deepens. This isn't deception, it's artistry. It's the deliberate unveiling that sustains fascination and emotional tension. Yet too many women fall into the trap of overexposure. Out of fear of abandonment, they spill their stories, their fears, their wounds, believing that raw vulnerability will guarantee safety and closeness. Instead of drawing a man nearer, it often overwhelms him. Intimacy offered without boundaries becomes less connection and more plea. And in that dynamic, the high-value woman within is overshadowed by the anxious child who still believes that oversharing ensures love. Vulnerability is essential, but timing is everything. Imagine relationships as a delicate dance, a step forward, a pause, a retreat, a careful advance. Too much distance, and the connection falls apart. Too much closeness, and it suffocates. A woman who embodies dark feminine energy understands this rhythm instinctively. She doesn't dump her entire heart into a man's hands, hoping he won't drop it. She lets him earn her trust, showing he is capable of holding her truth. In doing so, she teaches him that her heart is sacred, not something to be casually handled. There's a deeper psychological layer to this, tied to past wounds. Women who have experienced narcissistic dynamics often overshare to feel in control. If I tell everything, I can protect myself. But ironically, this overexposure opens the door to manipulation. The true antidote isn't shutting down, it's slowing down. Intimacy grows through consistency, through deliberate care, not by rushing into full disclosure. Men, consciously or not, respond to this energy. When a woman doesn't give herself entirely, when her boundaries are steady and her timing measured, he senses her strength and worth. Scarcity triggers fascination. What is rare becomes irresistible. When her emotional world is a story that unfolds gradually, he invests in the journey instead of racing to the conclusion. The paradox is that maintaining mystery takes discipline. It requires holding back when every instinct urges you to reveal more, to prove more, to secure the connection immediately. It means sitting in the tension of uncertainty, trusting that restraint is not rejection, it's respect for yourself, your story, and the sacredness of authentic bonding. That measured restraint transforms vulnerability into magnetic power. So the question becomes, if true attraction isn't about giving everything at once, how do you master the rhythm of revealing yourself? How do you tell the difference between holding back out of fear and holding back with wisdom? How do you embody the balance where your feminine energy is both alluringly mysterious and deeply safe, so that a man doesn't just notice you, he becomes captivated by every layer he discovers? If this resonates, pause and hit the like button. It signals you want more of this content and helps other women discover these insights. Now, you know the 8 pillars of dark feminine energy that create obsession, not just attraction: mystery, silence, boundaries, emotional alchemy, seductive confidence, understanding attachment styles, feminine polarity, and the untouchable flame. Which of these resonates with you the most? Share in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you've experienced how men respond to this energy, tell your story. You may inspire someone else. Remember, when you fully step into your dark feminine energy, you stop chasing love, and love begins chasing you.